got his own take on it and some testimonies to it. I'm gonna let Dylan share a little bit, and then we'll turn it back over to Pastor Scott. But thank you guys this far. You know, Josh wanted to be here with you. He's praying for you. He's been watching the live feeds, from what I understand, of the services at night. The ones of you in the human video, there's going to be human video kind of based towards the story, and the ones in the human video, we've already shared this, and I can't thank you guys enough. If you want to help support the trips to Gainesville, these bracelets, Project Ironman bracelets, we have about 100 left. If all goes to plan, God's going to work that out too, because if we sell out of those, we'll have just enough money, hopefully, the time he's done with the recovery in 2 months or so with the surgery. We'll be out of money, but he'll be out of the hospital. But that's how we pay. We pay for gas in a hotel for his friends, people like Dylan, to go down and just spend the weekend with him, give him a little bit of hope so he doesn't get down and depressed while he's sitting in a room 5 hours away. But I got bracelets. I'll be here the rest of the week with them. If you want to help support him, they're $5. But other than that, I'm going to let Dylan share something with you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'm Dylan, Josh's best friend. Whenever this happened, about a week before he went into the hospital in Pensacola, me and him were playing basketball, and we were talking about, you know, what we wanted to do when we grow up and what we were going to do after high school, because we were both going to be seniors this year. And it's crazy to think that it happened so fast, and that he is the kid he is because he was the beast of our youth group. And we're playing basketball, and he's out shooting me because even though I'm tall, I suck at basketball. But he goes in the hospital, and I kind of thought nothing of it because he's Josh, and he doesn't really go to the doctor. Even if he just to break his arm, he would probably not want to go to the doctor. But I didn't think anything of him being in the hospital, and until that last night when they put him in the intensive care room, and I showed up, and all our pastors were there, and Martin was there, and I went back to sit in the room with him, and he was watching Ridiculousness, and he was making jokes and stuff, but I could see on his face, I could see the fear in his eyes about what was going to happen, because the doctors had just left to figure out what was wrong with him. And about 2 hours later is when they live flighted him to Gainesville. And that's kind of when it set in to me that I didn't know how long my best friend was going to be gone. And it really hurt me to think that I was about to have to spend maybe even my senior year without my best friend. And it kind of set in depression, which I'm not really proud to admit, because I'm a pretty outgoing person. I like meeting new people, but I was depressed, and it started showing. Like the dude was preaching last night, he's talking about putting up walls. I put up a ton of walls in my life. I shut out my parents, I shut out my friends, and this is where it gets hard for me. I want to apologize to you guys right now for my youth group. I want to apologize to you for not being the example that I should have been. You guys don't know this, but I started doing drugs. About a month ago, or almost 2 months ago now, there's a point where Josh's heart stopped. And I was going to kill myself. Because I couldn't imagine life without my best friend. And the only thing that really got me through that was there was a night where Cotton decided he was going to stay the night to try to keep my spirits up, because he could tell there's something was wrong with me. And Allie came over, and we all just kind of talked. And this is the first time they've heard this, but I was ready to kill myself because I thought my best friend was going to die. And after his surgery, he got to Berlin, I went to go visit him, And oh my God, it's like the worst sight I've ever seen in my life. His eyes are swollen shut. He's completely pale, his skin and bones. He went from 180 pounds to about 140 pounds. So he lost all his muscle mass, which really depressed him because, you know, he's all about getting buff and everything. But he's super skinny now. And but after that, I decided that, you know, if he can push through this, then I can. And the only thing I could think of was, yea, that I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Because that's what it was. Josh was in a valley, and I was in a valley. Josh had already decided that he was going to kick the ends out of it. He wasn't going to turn it into a grave. But he was going to get up and push through it and just walk out of it. It took me a little longer to grasp that, and I turned to other things besides God to try to cope with it, like the drugs. But I decided I was going to turn my life around, and I did. I stopped smoking weed and doing all that. And we started the prayer group with me, Cotton, and Juan, and a couple kids at our school. And that was pretty cool. I was really excited because Cotton and Juan had just started coming to church. And people started getting baptized, and more people started coming to church and getting saved. And I realized that this was turning into something like huge. Like Josh was like making an impact. And I started realizing that I'm the pastor's son. And that probably makes the story a lot more meaningful to some of you. Because as a pastor's son, you know, you're held to a higher standard, and everyone looks at you, like he said, in a glass house. And all that pressure, my whole life, everyone's told me, you know, you're going to be just like your dad, you're going to preach. No, I'm not. No, I don't want to do that. But after this, last week, I spoke 2 weeks ago. I spoke Wednesday night at our church in front of our youth group about speaking here 3 weeks ago. And sitting there in that chair speaking to my youth group, I realized something. And there's a backstory to this. Me and Josh have been having a conversation over text where we were talking about him coming home and what we were going to do. He said he wanted to start surfing. He said he wanted to play paintball some more. He said he wanted to go four-wheeling and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, well, you need to hurry up and get here so we can do it. And he said, no. Somebody's not getting it, and I need to stay here longer until they get it. And I was like, you know, I kind of blew it off. I was like, yeah, I know what you mean, man. Somebody's got to get it. And then we went on with a conversation until 2 weeks ago when I was sitting in that chair talking to my youth group, and I realized that person was me. And it hurt bad to know that I was the person keeping him in that hospital. And to know that you running from God was keeping someone from getting their blessing was probably the worst feeling I've ever had in my life. But I realize now that God has called me to speak in front of people, and you can already tell it's improved from when I spoke here for 2 weeks ago to now. This is what I'm called to do, and because of Josh, I realized that. And so what I want to say to you guys is, if you ever get in a place of depression or a low down place, you do not put up walls. You need to talk to somebody, because it just makes it worse if you don't. Talk to your pastor. That's what your youth pastors are there for. They're there to help you. They're there to walk you through that stuff. Your friends are there. Find a godly friend to pray with. That's what you got to do. And that's it, I guess.
That's just an incredible story.